Short-form anime is something I very rarely cover on this channel. Mostly because I find it hard to talk about these shows because they rely on a very specific kind of humor, with some notable exceptions. And although it's fun to talk about most of the time, it's hard to talk about these types of shows in depth. But today, I'm going to be breaking that rule and talking about a show that I feel like I have a much more personal connection with. Skullface bookseller Honda-san. But before we begin, I want to give a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Anime Amino. It's a community-based app where you can connect with loads of people who are also interested in anime. I've worked with these guys pretty often, and their app is honestly great for finding cool fan art, chatting with other people, and even helping me make decisions. Also, there's these fun little chat rooms where you can meme with strangers. Speaking of which, if you want to join me, I actually threw up a poll in the Anime Amino to help me find out what anime I'll be covering the week after next. Links to everything down in the description. Now, this is a rather long short-form anime with each episode averaging around 12 minutes. The show follows Honda-san, a bookstore employee in Tokyo, Japan. Honda-san, who is just your average quiet guy, and also a skeleton, deals with customers, co-workers, bosses, and so on. And the show explores the somewhat cruel reality of working a customer service job, hence the part I find relatable. For instance, Honda is in Tokyo, which means he has to deal with a lot of foreigners, and some of their unusual habits. For instance, having to guess what kind of homosexual pornography a middle-aged American woman would like. Or having an older man come up and unknowingly pick up yaoi fanfic for his daughter. Honestly, it's just a lot of BL jokes with the hilarious amounts of difficulty poor Honda-san is put through because of these customers. Another thing that I find pretty hilarious is how the show portrays Honda-san's work. You see, anime has this really bad habit. A lot of characters have jobs in anime, and most of the time we see them just casually working, relaxing, or even making small talk. And if you've never worked a customer service job before, you may mistakenly believe that this is actually the case. But you see, this is all a front. In truth, actually we have a saying for this. Everything is always on fire. Literally every second is filled with work and nothing goes according to plan. Skullface bookseller Honda-san captures this mentality to a T. There is almost never a moment of peace in this show, and if the characters get a second to breathe, it's only because they haven't realized that they did something wrong. This makes for some hilarious moments in the show. For instance, when a writer comes in to do a signing, Honda pleads with him to not tweet out his location, because if he did, it would mean hell for him and his coworkers. The artwork helps further emphasize this over-the-top feeling, always drawing these heavily exaggerated expressions along with tons of action lines. It feels as though I'm watching a low-budget Mob Psycho 100. Speaking of which, season 2 hype! Back on track though. Another fantastic scene is when Honda gets selected to go to a specialized training session to better help his customer service skills. And instead of it actually being useful, it's basically just brainwashing people into smiling to an uncomfortable extent. The show takes aim at ridiculously overzealous companies forcing their employees into basically not being human. Which I guess, technically speaking, most of Honda's story is already not human, so that's a plus. This is pretty relatable. As someone who works in customer service, and I'm sure many of my viewers have, this is something that happens a lot. The company comes in and randomly picks a few employees for specialized training. Then they teach you that smiling 24 hours a day is a natural human trait and that customers never make mistakes. You are always at fault, and if you disagree, just remember, you are extremely disposable. Oh god, real talk, those things are extremely stressful, and it's clear that all of the characters in that scene feel that weight as well. Finally, leading me onto Honda himself. The show follows him, of course, but what's interesting is the pseudo-meta-narrative of him writing his own manga about him working in a bookstore. What's funny is that it feels very realistic. It's clear that the writer has or does legitimately work for a bookstore. The in-depth knowledge of how the inner workings of their corporation operates seems incredibly detailed, and most importantly, not made up. But then again, I just want to clarify that I am by no means an expert on the Japanese book industry, nor do I really have a clue. Just at best, I'm making educated guesses. But it's refreshing to watch a show about a customer service job that was clearly written by someone who has worked a customer service job before. Unlike maybe someone right now who writes for an MMORPG anime without ever really playing MMORPGs. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older that I appreciate shows that properly portray my struggle. But Skullface bookseller Honda-san is a hilarious short form anime that I recommend everyone give a watch, because you might just find it kind of funny. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. It's funny, I started writing the script for this one video and then just everyone dropped videos about this show, so I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who's in love with it. Sorry for not showing my face today. I am super sick and I look like crap and my voice is burning so bad, so I just wanted to record something real quick as a shout out and a thank you. A huge thank you to all of my patrons. You guys are my heroes. Speaking of which, if you're interested in seeing how I edit, chatting with me, or simply supporting the channel, please feel free to support me on Patreon. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Man Matt. Make sure you guys say man and go watch that goddamned anime.